Hey, good morning everybody. How y'all doing? Y'all know who this is. This your boy Rob Thomas Jr. And this is the real news behind the news. Yeah man, today is November 4th, Thursday, 2021 here in Shreveport, Louisiana. And I just want to bring y'all up to date, man, on two subjects, man, that's really, that sums up where Shreveport is as far as crime and violence on both sides. Here in the public and with the police department. Now, basically, there's two stories I'm going to talk about. The first story is that we have 3 Shreveport police officers indicted on federal civil rights charge violations. It's alleged that 3 officers, Officer Brooks, Officer Jackson, and Officer Eisenhower, all 3 of them in separate incidents are alleged to have violated the civil rights of detainees, people they had in custody. They was arresting these people and used excessive force against these people. Now, a couple of weeks ago on the radio show, Keeping It Real, we had an interim police chief. He was on that radio show, and I called in and I specifically asked him, what about the police gang culture, the gang culture in the police department? Y'all have to realize that your police come from the pool of people inside your city. A lot of these police, I'm not saying that these three guys were, but a lot of these police used to be involved in gangs before they became police officers. But you have to realize, all across the country, a lot of these police departments are nothing but a gang themselves. Just like the Crips, just like the Bloods. You have a gang culture inside your police department. And now you got to keep in mind, Officer Brooks was involved, about 4 years ago in the shooting of Anthony Childs. And he basically got away with that shooting. Because it was said that out of all the shots that were fired, Anthony Childs shot himself in the chest. Well, we know that the DA used the coroner to cover that up. And again, it comes out in the dark. What you do in the dark will come to the light. Now the same Officer Brooks is accused on federal charges of excessive force. So we got to keep in mind, man, when y'all dealing with these police out here, man, if you ever get stopped or whatever, don't give them an excuse, bruh, to make you a victim. You know what I'm saying? The time to fight these crooked cops, man, is not on the side of the road, but in a court of law. Sometimes you have to suck it up and take it as an L and go lay down, do your time, even if you got warrants, man. Suck it up. It's better to be alive in prison, man, than dead on the side of the road. The second story, man, is a tragic story. It involves the latest murder here in Shreveport. Another triple homicide. A triple homicide, y'all. Where a man and a woman plus a 12-year-old boy was murdered. The police have a suspect in mind. They got a manhunt out for this dude. But at the risk, I don't want to sound insensitive, but a lot of times, man, you have to ask the question, what was going on inside that house to make somebody come in and murder 3 people? Somebody just trying to steal a DVD player or a TV ain't just finna pull a home invasion and come in and kill all 3 people. I'm not trying to insinuate anything, but I'm just going off logic and common sense. Something had to be going on in that house between one member of that family and the suspect for that person to come into that home and murder 3 people. Now, excuse me, man, it's kind of chilly out here. My nose is running. But anyway, so my plea to the public is be mindful of the situations that you're involved in, especially if you have children. We don't know if it's a domestic situation. We don't know if it was drugs involved. I can't say, but I can say, don't nobody just come in your house, man, and kill everybody in that house, bro. Unless there was some kind of ongoing altercation or feud or beef between one or more people in that house. It's tragic that 3 people lost their lives, and I believe probably the 12-year-old boy was just collateral damage. He probably was just a witness But again, you have to ask these questions, man. What was going on between the suspect and the victims that made that suspect angry enough to come in that house, man, and kill 3 people? We can't just say Shreveport is violence. A lot of times there's something behind the violence, man, and that's what we have to really start focusing on. What are people doing to cause people to kill them, or what's going on in these people's mind? But they feel played enough where they can go in, they feel like they just go in and murder 3 people. It's sad, man, but do y'all realize Shreveport is pretty much broken its homicide record? Do y'all realize that per capita, Shreveport is one of the most violent cities in America? Just imagine if Shreveport had 1 million people. This wouldn't be no place to live, man. It wouldn't be no place to visit. It would not be a nice place to visit, and you definitely don't want to live here. It's getting crazy, y'all. And it's not just Shreveport, it's all around the country. Violence is surging all around the country. But for a little city like Shreveport to have these many murders, there's just a lot of underlying factors going on. And I'm going to be honest, we can't blame it all on poverty, and we can't blame it all on white supremacy. Sometimes people do things, man, and not aware of the consequences of their actions. And a lot of times these little kids are getting caught up because that 12-year-old boy, no matter what was going on between the victims and the suspect, that 12-year-old boy probably was just an innocent bystander, collateral damage, who was considered a witness. So again, y'all pay attention, man, to your dealings with these police officers out here, because these police officers are nothing but gang members themselves. Again, you had 3 police officers to be indicted on federal. Do y'all realize how many police officers in just the last two years here in Shreveport have been brought up on charges and indicted and actually a lot of them to face time? You had a couple years ago, you had 9 of them get caught for selling dope. Literally, you had 9 police officers get caught for drug distribution. You had quite a few of them get fired or reprimanded or had to face some kind of action due to that event that happened at my house on Mother's Day, the Mother's Day melee. Yeah, well, you had a whole Shreveport Police Department literally run up on my street and run to the wrong house. Most of them are young and black. Yes, sir, Harley. Yeah, most of these police are young and black, and you got to realize, keep in mind, that the police come from the same people that we grew up around with every day. And if they were in gangs before they joined the police department, just imagine how they help facilitate some of this gang activity. A lot of the drug dealing that's going on in the streets of Shreveport, your police are behind it. You see what I'm saying? Your police, a lot of it's been come to find out, a lot of these police, you know what I'm saying, help facilitate some of the gang activity by protecting their former sets. So you got to look at it. You got a lot of young black men and women on this police department who are literally aggressive. I wonder if part of the requirement for being a police officer is you got to be mentally unstable and prone to violence. Because, look how many cases of police brutality that have made national spotlight here in Shreveport. Look how many people who have been murdered, literally, by the police here in Shreveport. You had at least 4 or 5 people in just the last 3 years to be murdered by the police here in Shreveport. Where's Black Lives Matter on that? Where everybody talking about hands up, don't shoot, when somebody in Chicago or Minnesota get murdered, but you don't really see the outcry like that here in Shreveport. I see somebody trying to request to get in, but I'm going to have to end this video. I'll come back a little bit later on this evening, man, and we'll talk a little bit more in detail. We'll have like a discussion, a round tree discussion, and anybody that wants to join in on the video live, you'll be able to do it. Just say around about 6 o'clock this evening. But again, the time to fight these police is not on the side of the road. We don't know what them. Hey, good morning, Miss Shepherd. How you doing? We don't know what they were in the suspects did, but nothing they did was warranted the police to punch them and assault them and violate their civil rights. When you think that the police will see all this stuff that's going on across the country and be more mindful of their actions? Nah, the police in a lot of cases are acting just like gangbangers, man. So again, the time to fight the police is not on the side of the road, man, but in a court of law. And these 3 police officers, Brooke, Eisenhower, and Jackson, they're going to have their day in the court, a federal court. Think about it, they brought up on federal charges, meaning they violated these people's civil rights. And the feds are not going to indict you unless they got all their ducks in a row. So yeah, You got a violent culture here in the streets, and just an even more violent culture on the police department. And again, be mindful of your actions, man. If you're doing something and you have children that will get you and your children murdered, you need to check yourself right now, brother. Because again, people, man, Shreveport, yes, Shreveport is tore up, but not everybody in Shreveport is tore up. You just have certain individuals. And again, a lot of people overlook this question, but you have to ask the question, what was going on in that house to make somebody come in there and kill the 3 people that lived in that house, man? We got to start asking the question, what would drive these people to do all this killing? This man felt so, like I say, the police, they have a suspect, dude look like a member from Bone Thugs and Harmony, really, the suspect, you know what I'm saying? So he should be easy to find. But, yeah, it's sad that, these people lost their life, but again, you have to ask, what were they doing that would make somebody so mad that he would come in the house and kill all 3 people? So until y'all see me a little bit later on this evening, I might drop another video shortly. So until y'all see me later on, y'all be blessed.